the Texas State University system or Texas State University in San Marcos releasing this statement. This is from Mike Craven, that Arizona transfer quarterback Jayden De Laura has withdrawn from Texas State and will not be a part of the football program. So he left Arizona, joined Texas State. Because of that, TJ Finley got in the portal, going to Western Kentucky. I believe, and I was asking this, if Malik Hornsby might be going elsewhere. And now Texas State doesn't have any of them.
Yeah, did you mention Washington State in there? That's where he started off, and then he got suspended, and then he had to leave, and then he ended up at Arizona, and then he left Arizona, and then ended up at Texas State. And this is, I guess, surprising that you would think that the decisions being made to bring him in originally would have had enough backing that you wouldn't have to make this move just days later. That's a fumble in and of itself. This is a bad look for Texas State, guys. This is a bad look for them. To bring him in originally, given that you had...
The program or the university? Both.
Both. The program mostly, though. I don't really talk too much about the universities as a whole. I think we typically just stick to the athletic programs. And so I think here it's mostly the football program, because I don't know how much the university really had any decisions here other than maybe they were the ones that finally came around today and had a talk with their football coach and said, hey, I don't know. I don't know how that played out. But football program, yeah, we can absolutely say they were making decisions here. They were deciding to bring in Jaden Delora. They were deciding that it was better to bring in Jaden Delora and to move on from TJ Finley. And so we saw TJ Finley abruptly leave, and all of us talking about this last week were puzzled about, like, why would you bring in Jaden Delora when you already have TJ Finley, and he just had a pretty good year for you last year, and you made a bowl game in Kinne's first year? Like, why would you – Jaden Delora's not that much better. Why would you do that, especially with his baggage? And none of us could really come up with an answer, and now here we are days later, and he's not even going to end up playing for Texas State. So, yeah, that's kind of surprising, and then again not, because that just I don't know, it just never felt right, that whole move by Texas State to bring him in. And he does have baggage. I mean, he had to leave Washington State and had an issue there where he got suspended for DUI. But then, as we know, there's a bit of a bigger issue going on with him and other accusations. So, yeah, it's a thing that we talked to Jason Shear about when he was at Arizona, and that was part of Jed Fish clearing him and bringing him in and making sure that all that was okay. And then here we are, and Texas State obviously caught a lot of flack, but that's not a good look.
So the same day that Illinois releases a statement about Terrence Shannon and rape allegation, you have Texas State releasing theirs. Jaden Delora, again, has withdrawn from Texas State University as a student and will not be a part of the football program. He also has a civil case, as Craig, you mentioned, in Hawaii, an alleged sexual assault against a fellow minor while he was in high school. So now, if you're GJ Kinne, I'm not saying who's right or wrong here. If Texas State, it's their university, I still don't understand why you would have made the move. I'm not sure when we'll talk to GJ again. But you got a feeling that no matter what they do to fill the quarterback position, they'll find somebody. He knows people. But do you feel like this could lead to him one more year in San Marcos and then gone?
I think that was going to be the case maybe anyway if he was successful. But, he's now going to have to go through spring practice with C.J. Rod. I mean, like, you can't get anybody in before spring. TJ Finley's already at Western Kentucky. Malik Hornsby's already at Arkansas State, and Jaden Delora's gone. So C.J. Rogers, who was here as a walk-on at Baylor, is there.
And I don't even know if he's still there.
He might not even be still there. But they don't have, like, who's going to be their quarterbacks during spring football is a problem, because he's going to have to fill this spot after spring is over. So that is –
There's one of the responses, Brad Jackson time, so maybe he's on – I'm going to look at the roster and see who else is there. This is very interesting. And, man, like out of nowhere, but not a surprise. You wonder about if the backlash was just enough, so much the university just said, we can't do this. But why would they not have known about it and cleared him? And if you're going to clear him to come to San Marcos, why would you backtrack unless the overall – we've seen this before – the overall just backlash was too much to deal with?
Well, I mean, there's been plenty of stories written in the last week since he committed to Texas State saying that Texas State was putting winning above morals. I mean, that's not hard to find, and it's just not as amplified because they're not a school that as many people care about. And so maybe you thought that you could sneak it in there and not enough people would care about something that allegedly happened 5 years ago. And there's a whole timeline that I didn't, flesh out, but there was another player involved who's now at Wisconsin, Kamoy Latu, was a safety, but they both pled guilty back in 2018 to second-degree sexual assault, and there's the whole, backstory to that. And then there was the civil lawsuit, and they had come to a settlement back in August, but the judge had ruled it too low because of the amount of money that Latu and Delora were making through NIL. So I guess felt that was too low. And then there was a lawsuit, and just there's been a lot of the legal battles going on. And that was, brought up when Delora was brought on. And it's like, hey, well, what about all this stuff that's occurred and is ongoing? And I don't know, just I guess GJ didn't care.
My question is, did Texas State clear the football program and GJ Kinne bringing him on campus, and then they changed their mind?
We don't know.
I can't imagine they were blindsided. That would have been interesting. Blindsided not to get that cleared, bringing a guy who has that kind of baggage on your football team.
Well, when he announced a big-time quarterback coming to San Marcos and all of the graphics that accompanied that, I think that you must have had a pretty good assurance that you were going to be allowed to bring him into the program since you were officially announcing it and celebrating it. So, yeah, I think probably what happened, guys, is kind of what I said, is all of a sudden there was articles being written, and it's not like, we had Mark Schlabach and Paul Levine camped out in San Marcos for 60 days and nights, but I guess there was enough of a ripple effect and enough of a backlash, and who knows, that wasn't public. That was supporters behind the scenes going, we just had this great year. Why would you do this? We had the quarterback coming back. Like, why would you risk that for a guy who's got this baggage? It just didn't make sense. None of us thought it made sense. And so I guess, people behind the scenes changed their minds is all I can think of. But, that's an interesting outcome. And I can't say I'm totally surprised, because I was surprised by it to begin with, that they even made that move. But, yeah, it's been quite the roller coaster that's continuing on for Jayden De Laura as a result of allegations and his actions. And, there's a lot to that story. I don't want to pretend to be like an expert on it, but you didn't have to be an expert to know that you were taking on a risk by bringing him on. And so you should have known better in that regard. Now, did you have enough assurance that, like, we understand it's a risk, but we're going to go through it and we're going to support him anyways, and we feel like this is still a good move? I guess you had to think that, but clearly other people, somebody's involved, changed their mind here in the last few days.
If Texas State gave GJ Kinne the clearance to bring him on, then it's just across the board. It looks, like you said, it's a bad look, and you wonder why create any of that when you had a pretty good situation coming off the team and also a quarterback that had a heck of a year. We're now